Hello, hello, and thank you guys once again so much for tuning into the
Mobility
Mobility
Bros!
Bros. I am your host, Cliff Joseph, CEO of Fitness Essentials, and I got the hostess with the mostest right next to me, Ron Hilton, and we have an amazing, outstanding entrepreneur special guest here today with us. But before we get into that, I'd like to quickly thank our sponsors. And I first would like to thank every single one of you guys for coming every Monday to check out Mobility Bros, see what we got going on. Because, we talk about mobility, athletic mindset, the pain reduction of our clients, pain reduction and pain management, the thoughts and processes of our practitioners, and the mindsets of our clients and members. And we talk to amazing entrepreneurs in the industry that are doing revolutionary things that may be disrupting some things to help bring education, health, and healing to their communities. And we want to help spread that message. So, Ron, how are you, brother? How are you doing today?
I'm doing super fantastic, man. I'm rocking my Iron Irish today. We're getting close to St. Patty's Day. Gotta get the flex on. So, but yeah, I want to introduce this amazing guest we have on today. So I'm just gonna go over a brief bio. And me and Chantelle, we connected some time ago, and we really hit it off well. So Chantelle Lott is the founder and chief executive officer of Bounceless. After completing her Division One college track career, she decided that she wanted to continue running, but needed a sports bra to do so, which is phenomenal. This led her on a long journey to designing one sports bra to meet her bounce reduction needs without a fashion or design background, which is awesome. With her patent design sports bra, she now enjoys doing those activities that makes her feel energized and wants to bring other further bust women along along in doing those activities they enjoy. Her goal is this year is to compete at least two USATF, USA Track and Field, Master Track and Field 100 and 200. She is a wife and mother of three amazing children. She is also a strong advocate of in literacy and breast health. So, yes, so amazing. So I want to kick off the first question. So let me ask you, what initially gave you, what was your passion, and how did you get into track and field?
I started running track when I was in, first of all, thank y'all for having me on. I love this energy. so, but yes, I started running track in middle school. I think it just came natural. It was just a natural thing. My dad ran track and I was always fast, used to beat the boys. So it was just natural for
What's
me to
up?
run on that track and run.
That's phenomenal. I love that you just like it just came natural to you. It was a sport that you could easily get into. So when did you find that, playing these higher level sports and going through your collegiate D1 experience that there was something missing and that there was something that you needed to do so that you could be more comfortable with your sport?
I will say I remember my high school coach giving me a sports bra sometime during my high school career. And she was a great coach, still coaching to this day. But at that point, I realized I needed to wear multiple sports bras. And I was always fast. Like that never stopped me. But I do know looking back, some girls stop running because of their bust size. And for me, that's a passion. Now, I don't want girls to stop doing any sport because that is a barrier for them. But I just had to figure out a way to wear multiple sports bras to continue running because I wasn't going to give up what I love, what I'm passionate about, which is running. You have to find ways around it and make do. And so I decided to continue to figure out a way to solve this problem without wearing multiple sports bras. So that's when I decided to figure out how to make one.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, that's awesome. I never thought of that, right? Because I've worked with USA Track and Field with going through the trials, last two Nike Outdoor National Championships, and when I see the women run, I never think of like, I guess I never thought about that. The sports bra was supporting them. I know some of them have kind of like a full body thing going on, but I just never really thought that was like a thing or an issue.
Well, you get to that level, you don't see a lot of full bust women. You don't.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right.
Their body fat percentage is so low that
You're right.
the
I didn't
fat
think about
sex
that
hormone
either.
tissue, right? Because their body fat percentage is probably so low that the sex hormone of their breast tissue is less, right? So I mean, I'm a guy, so I never thought about sports bras. It never came to mind. But I've trained a lot of women, and there are times where we do certain movements and they're just extremely uncomfortable. So I would modify the movements so they never felt excluded or that they couldn't do it, or if it was, I didn't want it to be a self-confidence thing, and I didn't want the other maybe men in the group, if we had co-ed training classes, them to feel like men were staring at them. So I've always tried to pivot, but what a great solution to have this situation where they could just be comfortable and just go as hard as they want to.
Kudos to you for modifying and not making them feel self-conscious. Honestly, that is a big deal for a lot of women, even going to the gym, is they don't feel comfortable because of the bounce. And we definitely want to be able to, because health is important to me, physical health. That also plays a factor into your mental health, but I want you to be able to work out in confidence. So that's where the premise of our sports bra and our brand comes from too, for you to be able to work out and not feel self-conscious about it, and not limit yourself either. Because as a runner, like you come in, when you get into the adult world, you're working, but you need a release. And for me, that has always been running, and I didn't want to not run because I didn't want to put on multiple sports bras. But I didn't, again, going back to what are you passionate about, what do you care about? For me, I wanted to solve this problem not only for myself but for other women. But a lot of people don't think about, a lot of men don't think about what women have to go through, but some women only, they just deal with the pain sometimes and maybe modify it, so they're not really putting a lot of thought into what could help them as well. But there are some things on the market that I've seen, that I've tried too, that just didn't work for me. But you have to find your own solution to make your physical health your physical journey.
Mm. Taking ownership of your physical health. I hear that, and that's a beautiful thing. And it's awesome that you've taken that idea of how can I help others that may be in my situation so that they never feel like they have to lose out on what they're passionate about, whether it's running or high level sports and athletic sports. Now, I also heard you're a mom, a wonderful mother. Could you tell me a little bit about that experience and how entrepreneurship and mothership and how's that going for
In
you?
training, I know you're training too. So how's that all going? We're trying to incorporate all that.
You know, it's a daily, weekly struggle trying to figure out, like, find one for training, but for motherhood and entrepreneurship, I've kind of tie that in. I'm teaching my kids about entrepreneurship too. My oldest has started an apparel line. So for me, I'm an educator at heart. So it's always about making sure that I can give my children life skills. And for me, that is entrepreneurship as well. My kids are naturally athletic. My husband played football. I ran track. So even when they were younger, people were like, oh my goodness, when are you going to put them in football? When are you going to put them in track and all this stuff? But we naturally allow them to be kids. I want them to play. I want them to play outside naturally, because when they get into that world, we're in that world, and I want it to be something that they truly enjoy. So we kind of delayed getting them into the organized sports on like a yearly, annual basis, where it's constant practice and meets and games, but we're gonna get there. But overall, me trying to find my balance, I need it. I know I need to be outside working out at times for my own mental health when it comes to motherhood and entrepreneurship. So I built that in. I try to get my workouts in the morning.
That's awesome. I agree. I definitely try to do. I get my workouts done in the morning. I have a teenage daughter, and man, trying to get her out of bed is like a struggle. It's a struggle. Like I getting her how to, this morning it was like I had to get her to go to work, and it was like she's doing all this and looking at me all crazy. I'm like, you got to go to work. Wake up. You're going to be late. So it's like a struggle trying to get it all done. But you do it, right. You're a parent. You know what's important to you for as your health and what's beneficial to you, and then at the same time, what's beneficial to your family, and and how to take care of them. And I always say that You know, it's interesting. I always say that if you don't take care of yourself first, you can't take care of anybody. You know,
Absolutely.
like if you pour out everything you got, you don't exercise, you don't train, you just give, 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 you're gonna have nothing in the tank.
And
So
I will add too, I've included them in my workouts. Like when I go to the track sometimes, I'll take them. They'll bring one of my kids is into soccer. They have a good time on the track. And then I know what I'm working on when it comes to track. So I've even had it where I stagger them out. I'm like, okay, you go catch your little sister. I tell my daughter, don't let him catch you. Down. I tell my son, don't let him catch you. And I'm like, I'm chasing after you. Don't let me catch you. So I kind of built that into our little time together too.
I love how you tie quality time and training together and not make excuses for it, right? Because I mean, we've all went through the last 4 years of craziness and quarantine and like habit formings that we would have never done on our own if we weren't forced to do them. So breaking those habits, getting the kids to play together, getting involved and adding training is wonderful. I have a 22-year-old and a 6-year-old myself. And whenever I take my 6-year-old to work with me, he's in the warm-up line with everybody else, and he's handing water out to clients if they need water, and he's just involved. And
Yeah.
he's realizing, and he's like, Daddy's got the coolest job in the world. And I'm like, if you think so, take over. You know what I mean? So that's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. I'd love to know more about your experience with D1 collegiate, your D1 collegiate experience. The positives, the negatives, what did you feel like, and what could you inspire others? For those who are still here, congratulations. You're going to be getting some nuggets right now. What are those? What is something you could inspire others who may be aspiring to be a D1 track athlete, but don't know how to start or don't know where to go?
Yeah, I would say I will attribute me getting into the schools or really navigating that next step of my collegiate or my running career to my coach because she definitely played a part. My high school coach played a part in distributing. I don't think that was 20 years ago when I graduated, so there's no need to distribute VHSs across the nation at he is doing a great job of that, but being able to connect with the coaches, have in mind where you want to go. I will say student first. I was a student athlete. I really honed in on being a student. So, because athlete, depending on where you're trying to go, pro is not for everyone. So about where it is you're wanting to go. I wanted to go to a school that was highly recognized. I wanted to go to school out of state. So have goals and know where you want to go. My goal was definitely just to try out of state because I had been in Texas all my life. I just wanted to try something different. But D1, I will say, as far as being an athlete, it was challenging for me. I feel like I regressed. So looking back on it, when you're thinking about where you want to go, I would think about the coaching experience. I would think about again the goals you have. If you because I really did have intentions on trying out. I don't know. I'm gonna get my years off, but for the Olympics. But during that D1 experience, my times were not where they needed to be for me to continue to with that dream. So it did put me in a kind of a state of I felt like my dream wasn't accomplished, but I still have my high school experience that I can look back on because I was an elite athlete in high school. We set 2 national records my senior year in 2 relays, and one of them is still a Texas state record 20 years later. So that's what prompted me to continue with D1. But I mean, I made great friendships. I have great experience from it. It's just athletic wise, I would just really think about where will this school provide me with the next level that I'm trying to get to? And you could ask questions, ask questions from the athletes, ask questions from the coaches. How long has a coaching staff been on board? And then for me, I'm always one. They say you don't want to be the smartest person in the room. You don't want to be the fastest person on your team either. So you want to grow with people. And I wasn't the fastest person on my team, but you just want to be able to grow with people who are going to strengthen you. So I would just have questions prepared so that you can really figure out if that is this institution for you, because that's 4 years that you are of your life that you're invested in. That is a commitment. So you just want to be, make sure that is the right commitment.
Well, I think that's fantastic what you're saying. What I'm getting from that is like the experience that you had with your high school coach was just phenomenal. They were feeding into you, they were building your self-confidence, and you were able to just crush it. That there's a record even 20 years later that still hasn't been touched in Texas. And then college, it seems like the coaching staff and the people that were there that's supposed to really stand you and support you may not have been as insightful about who you are and what you were going through, like your high school coach. Am I getting that?
Yeah, so yeah, that's exactly right. And I think too, the different athletes require a certain amount of certain training style.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. I do agree with that. Absolutely.
Shifted when I got to college. So that would be another question to ask for aspiring D1 athletes is the training. Just because, I mean, again, hindsight 2020, I didn't know what I was getting into. I'm like, yes, we're here, we're going on another level, but the training was different, and it wasn't what my body was used to at that previous elite level.
Mm. What an insightful moment. I really hope people take the nuggets. And if you need to rewind and listen again to Chantelle and what she just said, it's really a lot of nuggets in there, from what you're deciding to do to the coaching staff to asking questions. Remember, your voice matters. Whether you think you're just, 18 years old and you're just doing what you're supposed to do, use your voice, ask questions, write things down, invest, because you're investing in yourself. Like she said, time, so much commitment.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. That really gave me a lot.
And I agree with that. It's just interesting. I was at UConn and I was working with the tennis players, but so I'm in a big field house and it's a treatment area. So there's a bunch of different things that go on in that field house. So it just so happened one of the indoor track and field players came in and she was going in on her coach. Like, I mean, her coach wasn't there, but she had one of her teammates, and she was just going in on him. She was like, you know what? He just yelled at me for no reason. You know what? I did what he told me to do, but she just was like so like involved with like the situation, and just like she was like, I don't know what, and at the end of the day, she said, I don't know what I did wrong, but he just came at me, and he wouldn't really explain to me what I did wrong. So I just went with it, but it's just like I did. So it's just interesting, at that level. It's just like, how the coaches can be maybe a little aggressive, maybe responsive. I don't know. Every coach is different.
Yeah. So yeah, get to know. Like again, it just goes back to get to know. Have all your questions answered. Don't leave anything unturned.
Yeah.
Just you want to make sure you're it's a fit for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just like a bra.
That's good. That's good. That's good. I love it. I love it.
That's like a little slogan. Make sure it's a fit for you.
You
I
can
like
coin
that.
that.
Oh man, that's fantastic.
So tell us a little bit about your training now. Like, I know you're training. Your goal is to compete with USATF in the Masters for the 100 and 200. I did a little bit of that in 8th grade. Just put it out there. I don't know if that counts. I was on a little track and field team in 8th grade. Just put it out there. So, but yeah, how was that? How is training for you now?
Training for me now. I'm older now, so I'm more cautious of, or I'm more aware of my body and the moves it needs to make. I'm stretching a lot more. I'm doing Pilates a lot more. I've incorporated that into my workouts. As far as the track, I'm not on it just yet. I'm going back to how the seasons are and how we train high school and college, thinking about indoor. I'm not doing indoor, so a lot of outdoor, like with heels and plyos, just getting the body ready to do some sprint workouts in the spring, and actually getting on the track in spring. I'm in the gym on weight. So that's pretty much what I'm focused on now, is doing strength, building up my strength, and then I've done some mileage to build up my endurance.
Nice.
But now focused on weights, and then I'll slowly roll into getting on the track and doing some speed endurance.
Nice.
Question: what do you think about, or do you have a fitness coach, personal trainer, athletic coach, sprint coach, and what do you think about having that asset as a part of your training regime?
Right now it's me and God, but yes, it will be part of. I'm just starting out, so I didn't want to invest in a trainer at this point. I'm just testing the waters. So It's just me and God at this point. I know. I mean, I found a journal from college where I would track my workouts and how I felt during that time, and what my times were from practice, the meets. So I'm using that, and what I know worked for me when I was in high school. Again, I'm an older woman now, so I'm looking at building my own training program for myself with online things that I'm finding online. So it's just me. Oh, what I did is I got certified as a track. What is it called? It's USATF. I guess it's not a coach. Maybe it's, yeah, I'm a level 1 coach. I went through that training.
Yeah. I saw that on LinkedIn, yeah.
Put my program together, but I did it for myself first so that I want to put myself in a mindset of be your own coach at this point so that I can figure out what works and what doesn't work. And then if this continues, I will definitely want to probably bring someone on.
That's awesome.
Be your own coach first. I think that's really insightful, because if you can teach it, that means you're double down on what you've learned. And in 2 decades of being a fitness coach, a wellness coach, helping everyone from children ice skaters to golf kids to seniors who are looking for mobility to Holocaust survivors who wanted to just train and stay strong through the last couple of years of their lives. It is important that I knew how to adjust and adapt and modify. So that is solid.
That is pretty solid. I found out from my own personal, because I've shared with you that I've bodybuilt, I've power lifted. I know at some point, even though I'm very knowledgeable, I know at some point I was like, I need a coach. And one of my mentors, somebody, a strength coach of mine, I've known him for 20 years. He said this phrase to me at one point because I was just struggling. He was like, some point, Ron, coaches gonna need coaches too. And I was like, hey, when he said that, like this big light bulb just went off in my head. I was like, coaches need coaches too. So I just kind of stuck with that. So even when I did my last bodybuilding show, I hired someone that was a physique pro, and he did all the background stuff for me. He did like the macros, nutrition, and then I know how to train, but he also made sure that I was actually working out. Like he made sure he tracked everything I was doing. He had an app. If I wasn't putting in an app, my phone. If I saw Trevor Harrison calling my phone, I was like, oh, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. So I got to answer that phone. He'd be like, "What you doing?" So yeah. So
That's how it is, though.
Yeah, it's how it is. So yeah. To your point, it's really good to do it to it, but I know at some point it's gonna be like you're probably gonna need somebody to like guide you. But it's great what you're doing. I think it's great that you're getting back in. I want to see some film, girl. I want to see you film yourself on the track running, so I can see.
And it's good it is good to have a coach. I will say that because it is about, you have to show. It's easy not to get out the bed for yourself, but when you have one, especially if you're paying for somebody, but even if you weren't paying, if you were like, I'm going to meet this person because they're going to train me, you're going to show up. And so the accountability in and of itself of having a coach is great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and like Ron said, like, and exactly what you said, Chantelle, it may not be the first thing you do because you have to get mentally prepared for the journey. But once you're on that journey, you want that person beside you to make sure that they're accountable. Ron looked phenomenal. In January, he was just thinking about it, and then he started training, and then he invested in the coach, and then they were on his butt like white on rice, and he just transformed. And there were times where he was tired. There were times where he was done with it. But
listen, the day of the show, I was starving,
accountability.
dehydrated, and I just wanted to get it done so I could eat and get some fluids in. I was like walking around all skinny, looking crazy, but I killed it. Got third place. So
yes, congratulations on that. Yeah, that's awesome. But again, it paid off.
Yeah, it paid off. It did pay
It
off.
definitely did. And so to get back to Bounceless, I really would love to know what, now that you've said, I'm an older woman now, I'm not training like I did in high school and college. And there are older women out here that have experienced body change, that have experienced menopause, that may have got it early, all the different changes of a woman's body. How would you suggest to them not only to make sure that they're comfortable training, but how do they just get back into it if it's been years? Maybe the pandemic stopped them from something and they haven't started yet. And it's hard to get out of bed, like you said, for yourself. What would you say to them?
I would say just start, and this your start is not going to be like everybody else's start. If it
Mm,
is getting out of bed, that's it. Like do for a week, like that's your first step is to get out of bed, to maybe put on some shoes, some workout shoes. Like you can have steps to build up to it, because what I found is I would, again, as an athlete, I'm used to just going out there and doing it. But then when I stopped from some years and started, I'm trying to pick up where I left off, and I would start and stop, and my mind would mentally, I was like, you're not doing this. You're not accomplishing anything. But when I took the little steps and built up to those workouts that I felt that I needed to be doing, it paid off. If I do nothing else, I want to do squats. If I do nothing, even no body weight, I'm in my house. If I didn't go to the gym that day, I just need to do some squats, or I need to make sure that I do some Pilates. Start off with stretching. Start off with walking. There's nothing like walking is a great benefit too, but I would say don't just jump into it, because we don't need to feel defeated on our first day.
Right.
We want So what are those goals? What are those workouts that you can simply do that you're gonna feel like you accomplished something in that day? What is gonna energize you? If walking around your neighborhood is something to start with, then do that. But do it for, I mean, don't say I'm gonna work out for 7 days a week, because you don't want to jump into that and feel defeated either. Maybe it's 3 days a week. Like, and then you build up to it. Just leave yourself room to be able to build up to something, and make sure it's comfortable for you, because again, you don't want to get discouraged and then not do it for 2 or 3 months and then try to pick it up again where you left off, and it's the same cycle.
that's phenomenal. I hear a lot in there. I hear, you know, let the variety, let room breathe, let variety breathe. Do things that make you feel encouraged, accomplished, building your self-confidence. Don't be so hard on yourself. Don't try to take on the whole week. Do simple things that don't cost any money. It's just your time. Getting out and walking around your neighborhood, doing some squats in your house, doing some Pilates if you have any routines like planks and bridges and cobras and all those things that you can do without a reformer. You don't need any of those things. All you need to do is just start.
Start with you.
And that's a beautiful thing.
And do something fun for yourself, even too. Like I remember I would take my daughter to hip hop dance class. That's aerobic. Get in the pool, go swimming. Like do something fun, jump on a trampoline, do something that's fun that doesn't require a lot of brain power in order to get your body moving.
Mm, that's great tips. Great tips.
So Chantelle, do you? I remember you talking about you started a YouTube channel. Is it a YouTube channel you started, or podcast?
I have a podcast with someone in Houston, another brand. It's called BootTube, and we talk about all things breast. Knew there was so much to talk about, even as women, but we're finding people and guests to bring on, and there's just it's a growing audience.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And you know what? With your brand, it's a great way to get it out there. It's a great way to talk to bustier women who need what you got going on, and athlete or not.
That's correct.
They have a product that you have a need for they have a need for your product. So it's amazing. You definitely have a great product. I definitely will refer you to anyone I know that needs your product. So I have one final question I want to ask. So with track and in your entrepreneurship, where would you say you see yourself within the next 2 to 5 years or so?
2 to 5 years.
I know that's a loaded question.
Okay, so let's start with the track. Like I track with me getting back into track, that's gonna help the business, because they're gonna start seeing full body women represented, hopefully. But I want to make Bounceless a brand that resonates with health and fitness.
Awesome.
Not only focus on just athletes. Like if there are women who just want to feel comfortable just working out, or you don't have to be an athlete to do this. I've had nurses wear a bra, and they work for their 12-hour shifts. So I have these 3 pillars: live, play, work, Bounceless.
Nice.
Wherever you fit in, as far, again, we're going back to that being health being a part of a major factor in our lives. I want you to be able to, if you have our product, to be able to feel like you can fit into live, play, and work in any aspect of your life. So we just want to be able to accommodate full bus women however we can. I definitely want us to have more products, but to be able to meet the full bus women's needs wherever they are in life.
That's awesome.
You know, it's a very caring business that you have, because you recognize that people are in pain, people are uncomfortable. You know, my wife is full bust woman, and you know, she experienced pain, and we thought there was something really wrong. We were very, very scared because she was worried about lumps and something could be worse. And when she went to her doctor to check, you know, they said it was a bra thing. And she came home and she said, "Oh my gosh, it's a bra thing. It's like, I'm just like, they're too small. I'm not wearing anything that's really supporting me. And it's causing all this pain on the side of my rib and pulling." And so that was the investment, to find something. And, you know, we went and we looked, and she was just uncomfortable with all the wires and the pain, you know. And so knowing that there's someone out there that's like, listen, it's not just for sports, because my wife isn't an athlete. She's an actor, she's a singer, she's a dancer, but she's not necessarily, you know, training.
Yeah.
And she's under 40, she's 39, and had a lot of pain. And it was really a scare. So there are people out there that definitely need your product outside of athletes. So if you're listening to this and you've been uncomfortable and you haven't found a solution, and Victoria's Secrets ain't working and things ain't working, I really would love for you to connect. How can people connect with you? How can people listen to your podcast, find your videos, and find your product?
You can find, for Bounceless, we are at bounceless.com. On the socials, we are at Live Bounceless. And the podcast that I am a co-host on is called Boob Tube Podcast, which you can find that on the socials as well as on YouTube. And I will say, to your story, your wife's story, that's why I'm a breast health advocate, because when I was 17, I found breast cancer runs in my family. So I found a large mass in my breast at 17. And then at 22, I had a lumpectomy where they removed the mass. But for young women, what I'm noticing too is that they're experiencing breast cancer in their 20s and their 30s. So that's why breast health is important to me as well, because when you're physically active, that can reduce your chances of getting breast cancer. So that's part of my platform, as well as to sound the alarm that even young women need to make sure that they're feeling themselves on the first, so that they can recognize when their breasts change, and that they go get help early so that they can reduce their risk of breast cancer.
Wow, that's phenomenal. Thank you so much for doing the work. And I think, yeah, people think about breast cancer, they think about older women, they think about postmenopause, they think about all that stuff. But knowing that you're in the weeds and doing the research, and even a survivor yourself, and your family has it in their history, thank you so much for taking on this work, and having the innovation mindset to create and continue to disrupt the industry so that you can help people with the message.
Yeah, I have to say my lump was benign. I mean, I didn't have cancer, but it was still a scary experience for a 17-year-old. You know,
Yeah,
knowing my, so go get checked, ladies.
get checked, ladies. That's phenomenal. Thank you so much. Is there any final words you would like to say? I mean, that was beautiful, but is there any final words you would like to say about your brand or your training or your family? What would you like to say, Chantelle?
To anybody out there, it's never too late to start, whatever it is, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it is being that athlete. I am so inspired. First of all, I'm so inspired by these 80 and 90-year-olds who are out there jumping over hurdles and stuff. I'm not doing hurdles. I was never
Getting after it.
But it is so amazing to see people starting to become an athlete in their 60s. So
amazing.
Even if you're not an athlete, just work out. Just do something for your health, something that's going to be fun and beneficial to you, because we only have this one life to live, and let's just make the most out of it.
That's fantastic.
It's fantastic.
I think you're a phenomenal human being. I think what you're doing with your work is way beyond just a bra. I
Me
think
too. I'm glad you got that.
Yes, I think it's way beyond that. I think it's going to help innovate, change, educate, and you need more stages so you can share your message. So whatever we can do to help share your message so that more women can feel comfortable in their bodies, can feel empowered in their movement, and can feel comfortable and share and safe, then I think that's all about it, man. I'm a big mama's boy, so the more I can do to help our powerful women out here in this world, the better.
I appreciate that.
That's awesome. So Chantelle, really appreciate you being on Mobility Bros, and I'm really honored to have you on our show. I want everyone to stay awesome, keep stepping to greatness, be legendary, having the most amazing day, and an amazing Monday. Take care.
See you next time.